Good evening, everybody. I hope everyone's having a good week. For this week's video, it's going to be a little bit of a deviation from what I usually go about this. The poem that I'm going to read for this week was one that I came up with on the spot on Sunday morning. And it goes a little something like this. The heat rages on. Everywhere one looks around the globe, a sea of death and mindless destruction, where even the smallest diversion is mired in infinite distractions. But as the sun shines bright, I see signs of life beyond bleak talking points. The green grass, shades of blue sky, people moving about at a relaxed pace. After all, it's a steamy Sunday morning. Celebrations too fill the air, from the Olympic torch's Parisian arrival to Djokovic and Alcaraz's first serve, and the Euros and Copa champions to be crowned. This is my naivete talking, fighting off the urge to be cynical, but I don't know any other way, seeing bright amongst all the gray. This poem is spoken in my voice, a moment of positivity spreading outward. So, regarding this poem, on Sunday I was on Governor's Island for the New York Poetry Society's annual New York Poetry Festival. And they do have an open mic stage, the Ring of Daisies, which I signed up for last year. I felt so euphoric off the thrill of reading my poem to an actual audience, which at that point I had never done before in person. It was always like this, either behind the camera or on a virtual open mic. So it's just that sense that, like, okay, it's not nearly as daunting to read my work in front of people as I thought it would be. And much like this piece, back then, I came up with one of my poems that I read for that day, sitting on the bus from here in Queens, heading out to Governor's Island, considering that it's about an hour and a half travel time from here to there, and plenty of time to think. And this time was no exception. I wanted to get that thrill of being in front of people reading my work. So I came up with the poem in the just my reaction to all the bad news that seems to come from every direction these days, whether it be here or across the world. It's hard to avoid it too, because everyone's got an opinion, a strong opinion at that. Everyone's trying to get what their most important thing is out into the world. So it's hard to you can't turn a blind eye to these things either. At the same time, you have to find some sort of balance and some sort of joy in one's life. And that's what this poem was trying to espouse through its message. Thing was, I got to the site of Governor's Island. I went there not as a visitor this time, but I was one of the volunteers taking as a photographer during the midday shift. I stopped by the stage before noon. I saw the check-in. I saw the check-in book in front of me, but I did not put my name in. By the time the names had already filled up, and the only other slot in the day was later in the afternoon. Given that it was 90 degrees with heat index of close to 100, I was not gonna sweat my head off all afternoon. So I just sat and watched everyone up there. It's always a joy to see all the poetry that's flowing around the venue every year. I know I'll be back next year for sure, and I hope to get back on the open mic stage next year as well. But for now, I hope everyone has a wonderful Friday and weekend, and we'll talk again next week. Good night, everybody.